Hey y'all, welcome to my YouTube channel where we learn together, take action together, and reflect together. My name is Tamira, and thank you so much for being here. Today we are talking about Memphis-Shelby County Schools and all that has transpired over the last couple of months. I'm going to share some key developments, my thoughts on the report from the Council of the Great City Schools, and how I plan to engage moving forward. So, if you're ready to get caught up on all things Memphis-Shelby County Schools and the Board of Education, then hop in the car and let's ride. First, I am going to start with a couple of key developments. As many of you know, Dr. Marie Feagins was appointed superintendent in April of 2024. However, in January 2025, the Memphis-Shelby County School Board voted to fire her just after 9 months on the job. The decision was very controversial, and Dr. Feagins has filed a lawsuit claiming that the board violated the Tennessee Open Meetings Act by making decisions behind closed doors and failing to be transparent in the process. Last time I checked, she was asking for her job to be reinstated and for the board's vote to be overturned. With Dr. Feagins out of the superintendent role, Dr. Roderick Richmond, a longtime Memphis-Shelby County Schools leader, has stepped in as interim superintendent. His contract will last at least 18 months. Dr. Richmond has served in various roles in the district and has a track record of turning around the district's lowest performing schools. The response from the public has been pretty intense. Many people in the community feel that the trust in the Memphis-Shelby County Schools Board has been deeply damaged. Concerns about corruption, personal interests, and even financial implications have been raised, and the debates have been nonstop, especially online. Some people are calling for board members to step down. Some people are calling for the state to intervene or take over. Some people are calling for a recall election. And the final development that I want to share is that there has been proposed legislation that could alter the governance structure of Memphis-Shelby County Schools, allowing the state to intervene more directly. State Representative Mark White filed a bill that would give the state the authority to appoint a management team to oversee the school board. However, this legislation has been stalled and put on hold until at least January. Representative Mark White stated, though, that the bills are still alive and well and that the state will keep moving forward with some sort of intervention. And so as we reflect on these developments, it's clear that Memphis-Shelby County Schools is at a crossroads, and the next steps under Dr. Richmond's leadership will be critical for the district's future. Now, let's get into the report from the Council of the Great City Schools. When Dr. Feagins was the superintendent of Memphis-Shelby County Schools, she requested they conduct a high-level review and analysis of the district. Between September and December 2024, the Council of the Great City Schools team conducted its review, focusing on key areas that impact student outcomes. The report, released in January 2025, examined instructional supports, system efficiencies, and best practices that could improve how the district functions. And the team developed recommendations aimed at improving managerial effectiveness, operational efficiency, governance, and the district's ability to support all students. If you are curious about all of the findings, I highly recommend reading the report for yourself. While I'm about about to highlight some key points that support my perspective, I also want to acknowledge that even when we try to be objective, there is always some level of interpretation behind the facts that we choose to emphasize. This reminds me of something historian Howard Zinn once said in A People's History of the United States. He said, "As educators, we are told to teach nothing but facts, facts, facts. But there is no such thing as a pure fact innocent of interpretation. Behind every fact presented to the world by a teacher, a writer, or anyone is a judgment. The judgment that has been made is that this fact is important and that other facts omitted are not important." So please read the report yourself or do additional research. That way you can determine what facts are most important to you and form your own conclusions about what this means for Memphis-Shelby County Schools and its future. The Council of the Great City Schools report doesn't just analyze the state of Memphis-Shelby County Schools, it also assesses the effectiveness of both the former superintendent and the school board. The findings are direct, pointing to significant leadership challenges that have contributed to instability within the district. And to break this down, I am going to start with the report's analysis of Dr. Feagins' leadership, the decisions made, their consequences, and the struggles faced within the central office. Then I am going to shift to the specific challenges associated with the school board's governance and its impact on the district. One of the major takeaways from the report is that the network leaders selected by Dr. Feagins did not have a clear and consistent way for setting goals, planning actions, tracking progress, and maintaining accountability. This meant that schools across the district were not getting support because there was no district-wide strategic plan to guide them. And while the responsibility for creating this plan is not solely on the superintendent, the report found no evidence that Dr. Feagins' network leaders were collaborating with her to establish clear goals and ensure everyone was held accountable. The superintendent recently reorganized just last summer and made big changes to how the school district's central office works. Many staff members who used to work in the central office were moved to jobs in schools. The goal here was to provide more direct help to students and teachers, especially since a large pot of federal money, ESSER funds, was running out and the district needed to adjust its budget. However, the report shows that these changes caused some problems and had some unintended consequences. The biggest issue was that the central office became less organized and had a harder time ensuring that schools received the support they needed to improve teaching and learning across the district. The extent of these changes was captured in the concerns raised by administrators. One district leader described the impact of the restructuring bluntly, stating, "Institutional knowledge has been lost." Another seasoned administrator described the experience as like starting in a new school district. The report recognizes that big changes in an organization are always complex and tricky, but these changes were so big that many senior leaders felt overwhelmed and unsupported. Since many administrators were new to their jobs and whole departments were dismantled or combined, it caused a lot of stress, confusion, instability, and uncertainty throughout the district. One senior administrator called it a leadership gap across many departments. There was no clear plan to help network administrators grow as leaders, even though they were responsible for guiding schools and ensuring that they had what they needed. During the review, the Council of the Great City Schools team heard a lot of frustration from district staff. Some administrators shared powerful comments, including, "We are building the plane as we fly it. The organizational structure is still not functional. What we need is stabilization." And all of these findings show that there were big problems with leadership and organization. making it hard for administrators, teachers, and staff to keep up. Some of these issues may have already existed, but according to the report, the decisions made during Dr. Feagins' tenure made things even worse, making it difficult for the district to run smoothly. The report highlights major challenges in Dr. Feagins' leadership, issues that needed attention and support, as well as some of the concerns the school board had about her. But it doesn't stop there. The report also directly blames the Memphis-Shelby County School Board for not providing the clear direction, vision, and leadership needed to keep the district on track. One of the report's key conclusions is that the Board of Education is not organized around a student outcomes focused model. In other words, the board has not set clear goals or expectations for student achievement, nor has it developed a strategic plan to outline what success should look like under a superintendent's leadership. As a result, Dr. Feagins and her leadership team were never given a clearly defined direction, making it difficult, if not impossible, to execute a cohesive and comprehensive plan for improving student outcomes. The report makes this clear. There is no evidence of a district-wide strategic plan. A search for board-approved student outcome goals on the Memphis-Shelby County Schools website found nothing. The report did mention Destination 2025 and Reimagining 901, but neither provided specific measurable goals for what students should know and be able to do. Destination 2025, created in 2015, set 10-year targets that are now outdated. Reimagining 901 focused on big picture priorities, but didn't include clear learning benchmarks to track student progress. Beyond the lack of vision, the report also points to a toxic culture within the school board, one where problems are often ignored instead of being addressed directly. The findings show that there is a long-standing habit of sweeping things under the rug when issues arise or when the district fails to meet expectations. This way of thinking has stopped Memphis-Shelby County Schools from making real improvements over time. Instead of planning and fixing problems before they get worse, the district has been stuck reacting to issues as they arise. One of the biggest mistakes the school board made was approving 1,296 new staff positions using temporary ESSER funds from the federal government. Experts, including the Council for Great City Schools, had strongly advised against this decision, warning that the funds were only temporary and couldn't support long-term staffing costs. But the board ignored these warnings, and it's worth noting that 4 current board members were not on the board when this decision was made. And so when the ESSER funds ran out, Dr. Feagins had no choice but to make major staffing and budget cuts within her first 6 months, causing chaos across the district. The report makes it clear the board's decision to overhire with temporary funds caused this crisis. But instead of taking responsibility, the board shifted the blame onto Dr. Feagins, making it seem like she was making reckless and unnecessary cuts. That said, while the cuts were inevitable, the report also points out that Dr. Feagins did not properly plan for the fallout, which added to the district's instability. At its core, though, the report reveals a school board that lacks vision, shies away from responsibility, and fails to lead. Instead of facing problems and fixing them, they ignore issues and let them grow. And without a clear plan, a focus on student success, or a willingness to admit mistakes, the Memphis-Shelby County School Board has left the district without direction, unstable, and stuck in crisis mode. If Memphis-Shelby County Schools is going to improve, the board must take responsibility for its failures and commit to real change. The report highlights both structural and instructional issues that continue to hinder student achievement in Memphis-Shelby County Schools. It highlights years of weak leadership, poor governance, and organizational dysfunction, all of which have led to low and stagnant student performance. One of the biggest issues is the constant turnover of district leadership, with superintendents coming and going, no clear student achievement goals approved by the board, and no solid plan to track academic progress. The district has been stuck in a cycle of underperformance for decades. Research shows that districts making academic gains are those where leadership sets smart goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, and actively monitors progress, something that the Memphis-Shelby County School Board has not done. In the end, the report confirms what many in the community have long believed. Memphis-Shelby County Schools' problems extend beyond just one superintendent or leadership change. The system itself is malfunctioning due to poor governance, frequent leadership turnover, a lack of clear strategic direction, and a lack of accountability for student success. Until these big picture issues are fixed, student achievement will not improve and the district will remain unstable and struggling. Amid ongoing controversy, the Memphis-Shelby County School Board has held retreats to start working on a governance plan. They are working to stabilize the district and address long-standing issues that have slowed progress. To improve their leadership and decision making, the board has committed to holding training sessions every 90 days, bringing in a consultant to help guide the governance process, and following a set of core values to improve how they operate. These steps show that the board recognizes its past governance has not worked and that outside help may be needed to rebuild trust and stability in the district. Board members have put forward a resolution to work more closely with the state and Shelby County commissioners. Their goal is to demonstrate a strong commitment to improving the district and to ensure that Memphis-Shelby County Schools remains under local control, avoiding potential state intervention. The Council for Great City Schools report did an excellent job identifying key issues within both Memphis-Shelby County Schools and the school board. The report doesn't just highlight problems, it also presents data-driven recommendations and opportunities for growth that could help the district move forward. The big question, though, is how will the board and the administration use this information to move the district forward? The improvement plan that they are working on must align with the recommendations in this report. I say that with confidence because I've been closely following the Memphis-Shelby County Board since the summer of 2022. I've watched nearly every school board meeting, spoken with board members, attended community meetings, and had conversations with staff in the central office. Everything I've seen and heard matches exactly what's in this report: the dysfunction, the lack of clear strategic planning, and the governance issues. It's all been playing out in real time. Now, there's an official report that confirms it, and I will continue to engage to the best of my ability. That being said, I do want to give you all a quick update on how I'll be engaging with this moving forward. I still watch every single board meeting, but as of April 1st, I stopped capturing my detailed play-by-play notes from these meetings. I initially committed to doing that at a time when I had much more flexibility in my schedule. I simply don't have the capacity to provide that level of detailed coverage anymore. However, I will continue to follow Memphis-Shelby County Schools and share key insights when needed. I appreciate all of you who have engaged with these updates, and I'll still be here to help keep you informed. One of the next videos I will create about Memphis-Shelby County Schools will focus on how we engage with the school board, define our expectations for their role, support them, and hold them accountable. We need to ask ourselves, what do we expect from them? Should they be hosting quarterly town halls, publishing community newsletters, or creating a system to collect input from their districts? How do we ensure they are staying true to their campaign promises and actively working on behalf of students, families, and educators? We've all seen it: candidates knocking on doors, hosting campaign events, buying us breakfast and lunch, posting warm and fuzzy photos online, making promises and telling us that they'll listen. But how do we make sure those same people show up after the election? How do we we ensure that the level of engagement and responsiveness they had while running for office continues throughout their entire term? And that's what I'm working on next. I don't know when this video or this guide will be released, but when it is, it will be an important conversation about how we move forward and ensure that our school board is truly working for the academic, social, and emotional well-being of our students. If you have any ideas, insights, or contributions you'd like to make for this video and the guide that I'm creating, sign up for my newsletter, which is linked below, and I'll be sending out communication on how you can support and participate in this conversation. And that's all I got for now, y'all. Thank you so much for riding with me. Remember to keep learning, keep taking action, and keep reflecting. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.